everybody, my name is Lauren and I immigrated to Mexico about almost 8 years ago, and my husband is Mexican, my children were born in Mexico, so I thought it would be interesting to make a video. I know a lot of people are interested in moving to Mexico or are curious about what it might be like, and so it's just a fun video about the 6 signs that you might be successful or you might enjoy living in Mexico. So it's just for fun and it's from my own experience. So other people might have different experiences. But I would say number one would be if you like people. So I would say one of the best things about living in Mexico is that for the most part, people kind of live their lives, but if you want directions, if you want to talk to people, if you just want to make friends, it's really, really easy. Um, for the most part, like Mexican people, even in large cities, are very friendly. Um, they will help you find directions. Like I said, if you don't have Mexican friends and you're living in Mexico, it's basically because you don't want any. Because people are really open. People invite you into their houses for parties, for everything, for your neighbors. So even if people seem shy at first or they don't approach you, it doesn't mean that people aren't friendly. Most people are extremely friendly. It's just they're not gonna like get in your business and bother you if you don't want them to. So that would be number one. Number two is I really think you have to be open. Like you have to be open to new experiences, new types of food, language, culture. Like if you expect everything to be like I'm from the US originally, so if you expect everything to be like the US or Canada or whatever country you're from, it's not. And it's just not going to be, and you have to accept that. Some things you might like more, some things you might not like more, some things are just going to be different, but it's that openness is really important, and just trying to be accepting or kind of go with the flow. So if you're somebody who either finds that interesting or is more laid back in those ways, um, I think you will have a positive experience living in Mexico. For number three, I definitely think some people will say you can move to Mexico and not learn Spanish. I mean, I guess you can, especially if you stick to very isolated areas. But to me, like, what's the point? So I think if you're somebody um, who genuinely likes learning languages, who likes different cultures, who likes understanding how different types of people view the world, um, I think that will definitely be an asset for you. You'll definitely save a lot of money. Um, and I think if you're going to move to Mexico just because you think things are cheaper, or you think that um, you can just take your style of life and just move everything exactly the same for a lower cost, I think you're probably going to be disappointed, honestly. So I I think that's really important to have that just desire and interest in learning languages and learning about different cultures, and understanding that within Mexico, just like within the US or within a lot of countries, it's not one culture. Like there's so many, it's so diverse. There's so many different types of people, different types of lifestyles, different ways of speaking. So like um, there's always more to learn. And if you think that that's a good thing and an interesting thing, then I think you would really enjoy and have a great time living in Mexico overall. I'm looking down because I have notes. um, I think number four is probably the most important thing, and it's probably for anybody. If you're going to move to any country, this would be the case. If you're willing to be uncomfortable sometimes. So if you're moving to a different country where people speak a different language, people have different ways of thinking. Even if you're from the US and you're moving to the UK, for example, it's a different culture. People have different ways of interacting with the world. There's a different government system, there's different schooling systems, and there are going to be times that you say something silly or say something stupid, or you don't know how something works, or you're just going to have kind of more difficulties than you would in your native country. Um, and if that's something that you don't think you can handle or it's not worth it to you, obviously nobody likes to be uncomfortable. I really don't like to be uncomfortable, especially in social situations. But at the end of the day, you get over it, and I feel like it can build your confidence because you're like, hey, that wasn't the best, situation, but I did it, and everything's fine, and I'll do that again, and it will be okay next time too. Or it wasn't okay, and what did I do wrong, or what did they do wrong, and how can I change it? But I don't think that's really for Mexico, and it's for anywhere. Number 5, I think this one is also really important. I have seen a lot of people online. I haven't met people like this, but where they'll just say, "Well, Mexico is like this," and they'll say something that is so different from my experience. And from what I've learned, we've lived in several different cities in Mexico. Like I said, over 8 years. I lived in Mexico City. I've lived in small towns. I've lived in medium-sized cities. And the one thing that I have learned is that every place is so unique and so different. People use different words for things. Things are handled in different ways. The culture of the people is, different. People act differently. There's different types of food. I would say much more so than in the U.S. So if you travel, for example, in the U.S., a few hundred miles, you might see some differences, but in Mexico, there are way many more differences, which I enjoy. But it's also good. So if you go somewhere, like when we first came to Mexico, I won't say the place, we didn't really enjoy it a lot. And my husband's Mexican. It was very different for him. It was, for a lot of reasons, it wasn't the best experience. But I've been here for 8 years. So if you move somewhere or you visit somewhere and you don't like it and you choose not to stay in Mexico, that's fine. But don't just assume all of Mexico is like this, or my experience is going to be for this entire huge country of 100 million people that's, has a lot of different geography, a lot of different climates, a lot of different cultures and people and all of that. So, and the last one, I think this one is also really important. This is also something you see online a lot, and not just for Mexico. I think this could be for any country. A lot of people think that if they move to another country, that all their problems will be solved and everything will be perfect and it will be this little utopia and everything is better in this country over here that I'm not living in, or even this city over here that I'm not living in. And if that's what you're thinking, I mean, it's good to have a positive attitude. I think it's much better than to assume everything's gonna be horrible. But the truth of the matter is, it's your life. You're gonna have bills. You're gonna have, people that you might not get along with. You're gonna find rude people everywhere in the world. And sometimes when you're living in a different country, especially if you're not when you first come, if your language skills aren't where you want them to be, it's more of a challenge. Everything is going to be more of a challenge because you're not used to how things work. A lot of your assumptions about how things are, whatever you assume, is probably the thing that's going to be different. And it's one thing to say you're open to it, but day to day, it can be frustrating, and it's okay that that's frustrating, but just to realize that it's a really wonderful and rewarding experience. Like I said, I've lived in Mexico for 8 years. I'm never planning to move anywhere else or live anywhere else. So for me, it's worth it. For other people, maybe not so much. But that doesn't mean that you don't have hard days. And whatever problems you have where you're living, you'll probably have problems, even if they're different problems, if you move somewhere else. So I think if you're somebody who likes to meet people, likes to learn things, likes to experience new things, and is open to new experiences, then I think Mexico's a wonderful country. Like I said, I really love it. My family's Mexican, and I would never live anywhere else. But it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Be honest with yourself. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.